everybody, how's it going? Stevie D from Testament here. So we're on the Bass Strikes Back tour, as you all know, and we've been covering a lot of behind the scenes and the technical aspects of the bass players of the three bands. But what we're going to do now is go into the technical support system. Just like a race car driver has a fancy car, he's got a pit crew that keeps that car running at top notch. So what we're going to do now is go talk to some of the people that are involved with supporting the sound of the bass and the basic upkeep, maintenance, and the life of the bass. So check it out, we're going into Techland. All right, what's up? Here we are again on the Bass Strikes Back tour. We have here Tilo. He's the sound man for Death Angel. How's it going, Tilo?
Hello,
all right, thanks for chatting. So basically wanted to just ask you, the question is, what can a bass player do to help a sound man so the bass sounds good in the concert?
Right.
Any advice you could offer a bass player playing metal?
I think it starts with the playing consistency of the bass player. What I find that throws me off a lot mixing metal basses live is when the bass players go from very light to like slapping crazy hard without having compression set on their amp.
Yeah, too dynamic.
Yeah, too dynamic is usually a no-no for me. There's different approaches. One is some gain, some dirtiness, some distortion in a sense.
Sure, kind of fill in the sound a bit.
Which brings, because I mean the low end is, the bass alone takes care of the low end of the show. But that doesn't necessarily make the bass heard. It just fills out the low end. Right. It makes it sound fat.
So where does
but
the
you might
distinction come from?
You might not hear what exactly is going on. And I think the distortion, it gives it a nice, like in the mids, high mids, it gives it a nice presence that stands out against the guitars and the drums. The other thing is, if the bass player is not into distortion, like for example, Jack's fairly clean, Damien is completely clean. For them, it's just boosting the right frequency to make the fingers.
Now, this specifically, you would do this at the board, or would you try to get the guys
try
to
to
do it
get
on
the
their
guys,
amp, maybe on the bass, the bass control?
But I think the main thing is in the fingers or the pick, depending on what the bass player uses.
So play smoothly, get a good overdrive to round out the tone, and work on EQ to what you have in the big spectrum. Not just a good bass sound, but a bass sound that works in the context of everything.
Right. Yeah, and obviously keeping stage volume in check, especially in smaller places. Sometimes in small places, the low end of a bass off stage can get really overwhelming in the house,
Well, that's a good point, because if the bass player is turning his own amp up too loud, then he's defeating the PA.
Yeah.
You take him out of the PA, and then maybe in a radius in front of the amp, people can hear it, but now he's not really in the hole.
Exactly.
So even though it seems quiet to us, we have to trust that it's being thrown out through the PA.
Yeah. And I know most musicians hate that. They want to hear themselves like they're used to.
Yeah.
And they get told to turn down, and it's immediately like a bummer. So
it is.
I understand.
It is, and I've gone through that too.
Yeah,
And experience helps.
Yeah.
But that's part of why I'm asking is advice from the experience to help those who want to know.
Yeah, I think that those are the main point. I think the main thing is in the consistency of playing.
Just play good, and that gives the sound engineer a chance to put them in there.
Bring it all forward.
Instead of burying them. That's the point I'm trying to get to, is how do we not get buried?
Because if the bass player gets like super loud for some parts, the sound guy will instinctually pull the bass down because it's like, oh my god, it's too much bass. But then the other parts, the bass player plays quieter or normal, and then of course the bass is gone. So that's to me that's the main
maintain steady
thing where I distinguish a good bass player from a not so good bass player. And I think all three of the bass players here on tour do really well, man. Jack's fucking super consistent. Your stuff is super consistent. Damon
I had
is
to work
good.
on that.
Damon sometimes gets a little hard, but he knows when. He knows, like when he does his upper runs, he knows he gets a little bit louder.
Yeah.
Because he knows that the bass is featured in those parts, so he's pretty good at that.
Cool.
Yeah, man.
Well, all good points, man. I appreciate you.
Well,
Thanks a lot, man.
Yeah, man.
I'll see you next city.
Cool.
All right. All right, what's up? Stevie D here on the Bass Strikes Back tour. So today we're talking about sound engineering and bass playing. With here is Vander. Hey Vander, how's it going?
How's it going?
All right. So Vander is our monitor man, but he's also the front of the house sound man for Exit. Right there. So anyway, Vander, real easy. Just wanted to ask you for your advice for a metal bass player. What could a bass player do working with a sound man to make it easier on you to make the bass sound good in a metal concert?
To make it easier.
Yeah, what could a bass player do with his amp, his playing, anything?
Cool. I would say that, well, first of all, I guess it starts here, right?
Sure.
It's all in the hands. So, there's no way that you can play soft if you're playing a thrash metal band, right?
It's aggressive music. You gotta play
So you
aggressive.
gotta have, like, you gotta go hard on that. So, I guess, first of all, here, you know, in Brazil we say lettuce hand when you play like
Let his hand,
lettuce hand.
like tickle the string.
Yeah, like when you play something like this, it doesn't matter if you go like standard or you go like with pick, but we make that. After that, maybe, well, communication, right, between you and me, and because you know every place is different, so every day is a challenge.
Yeah.
I would say like sonic challenge because every venue is a different venue. So especially regarding bass frequencies, because the waveform is bigger, the wavelength is bigger.
Notes are moving slow. You don't. Yeah, it's the old thing. You don't really hear it when you're standing next to it as you do out more.
Exactly. There's
Sure.
a lot of guys there. I like standing like right next to the 8x10. Like, hey, I don't hear myself. Of course, you know. So yeah, that's. I would say sometimes, especially like in small clubs, it can be tricky to get the right sound. So that's when the communication gets in. You know, go to your guy, talk to him like, hey, can we settle down and you know, and dial in. There is like infinite ways to get the proper sound.
But but you bring up a good point. There's infinite ways to do it good, but the thing that solves it all is to be in good communication
Of course.
with your sound engineer
Yeah.
who's listening back at the big picture.
It's,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's the main thing.
Starts on stage. I mean, we can go to your stack, go to your pedals, you know, try all ranges and
Yeah, many adjustments, many variables.
yes, you know, stage volume is really important from my point of view. And of course, after that, you can jump with your guy to front of house. Like, hey, this is your direct pre-post. This is your mic. So let's blend it now. So, you know, why not try that? Why not try this? So there's like many ways to get to that good, perfect.
Totally. Yeah, but for the younger bass players out there who are used to practicing in a garage or a small room, they're on the stage, they're new at it. So the point is, you have to give up a lot of what you believe based on your location to the engineer who's in control of everything. And that starts mainly with just listening to what he says. What you said, right?
Exactly.
It's the communication.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's hard for the bass player. I know, I went through those years. It's really frustrating because it's not how you want it to sound. But we're not doing a concert for one set of ears. We're doing it for hopefully thousands, right?
Exactly.
And if it sounds good to you, it's going to sound good to most of the people, right? So it's about the communication.
Of course. And of course, good taste, you know.
Knowing what to play when. Yeah, well, you're a sound engineer, not a music teacher. Anyway,
I mean, when it comes to good taste, knows that what your guy like to sound outside. I mean, like, just listen to what he listens usually, you know. I guess that helps also.
knowing what the bass player's personal sound.
Yeah.
Try to get that to translate into
I
the
want to
group.
sound like this. Can we work on that? And then
Yeah,
that comes to good taste as well, I think.
yeah, that's true. You have a shit sound, it's never gonna make anything sound better. Huh?
Yeah.
True. All right.
I think that's it.
Yeah. Well, appreciate the talk, man. Thanks, Vander.
Thanks, TBD.
We'll see you on stage tonight, bud.
Fuck yeah.
Ciao.
Ciao.
I don't know, be more, I don't know. I think I have pretty a lot of light in that bass player.
What if the
Yeah,
bass
so-
player is
and everything.
50% Latin?
No.
Nothing?
Doesn't get any better.
What if the bass player?
You just have to be more special than everybody else to have more light than everybody else.
What if the bass player made nice, tall, frosty Stevie Jittery for the light girl?
Well, I would have to think. The light girl would have to think about it.
Okay. What's up? Stevie D here, and I'm at the control panel, the main control panel for the Bass Strikes Back tour. This is the Testament sound, and I'm with the Testament sound now. Ralphie, how's it going, man?
Hey, how's it going?
What's up? This is Christian Hauser, by the way. So today, I want to ask you one quick question. So, in a metal concert, a metal band is setting up. What is advice you could give to the bass player how to sound good?
Turn it up. Turn it up. Well,
we'd
that's
love to. We'd love to. But it's not always the case, is it?
No, it's not always the case. The case is mostly people, they crank up their low end and their bass, and it's they want to have their balls. And but overall, it kills the Christmas, the highs, and so we call it gank. And the gank is
The gank resides in the mid-range of the bass.
yeah.
Which is a little bit low-mid on the big spectrum, right?
Yeah, but it goes to the high mids. The high mids are
Mid,
this,
high
that
mid.
rides the skank and the
Yeah.
presence of the bass.
EBS has given us this tool, and what would you call this? This is it's a preamp.
It's the Fafner without the amp.
It is. It's got the Fafner sole and a little solid-state body.
Yeah.
And it's a preamp. It's an overdrive. It's a direct.
The directly DI channel from the bass gets feeded into here,
Yeah.
and it's inserted. And
So it's like having a little mini bass amp up here that only you control, that everyone out here can hear.
yes.
Yeah, that's amazing. I don't know if this is a normal, like a common practice. I don't think so, right?
No.
Most soundmen are just getting, and soundmen will get multiple signals from the stage, like you have. You have a
Yep.
cabinet,
Yep.
you have direct, you have a preamp,
Yeah.
and you can mess with those. But this is just what? It's just another option.
It's another option. It's the main option in my case, but it's another option.
I think we jump right to it. I just wanted to ask you. Normally, a bass player that has this live might not have an amp, use this in place of an amp, or if he has an amp, he would use it as kind of a preamp enhancer
Yep.
on stage, right?
Yep.
So why is this up here in the big control center?
In our case, we split front of house and stage, so stage sound is separate to front of house because sometimes the stage is weird and you need other adjustments than on front of house, and so I'm a little independent. And that's the trick here. And a little compression helps. We, instead of really compress it, we have a dirt channel that is a distortion, so this gets blended between
this one and the distortion, and so the dirt gives also a little nice color to it. And
we call it dirt, but it's technically what? That's the overdrive.
yes,
Yeah. But we call it dirt because you have a nice clean bass sound, good frequencies, but it needs to be mean in a metal context.
Yeah.
So we throw a little dirt on there,
Also-
make it nice and fucking evil,
to
right?
get a little bit above the guitars. I know the guitar player don't want to hear that, but
Well, I mean,
bass is a fundamental thing, and it actually is the boss on stage. Because if he plays 16s, it really moves forward, and if he goes for quarters, the whole song stands still, and so the bass is the guide.
come up with a hypothetical situation that you're working with a very young bass player who's not used to playing concerts. See, because this is the point. Me and you have had a relationship.
Yeah.
I'm working on a bass tone for a few years now,
Yeah.
and with Carlos, the bass tech, we communicate, the three of us, to adjust amps, mic positioning, everything, every little.
Stage volume by
Every
itself, yeah.
possibility in the signal chain, we have investigated that to get the best possible thing.
Yeah.
But that's taken a few years to do, and it's taken me almost a lifetime to get to that point where I agreed to it. So we're talking now to a bass player who's young, who doesn't have this experience or have you as a sound man. He shows up, puts his amp on stage, he's used to playing in a garage or a small room,
Yeah.
he's used to that sound. So the advice to this younger guy, or younger bass players in general, what's the one saying you would put out there to help them sound better in the concert?
They have to work with their guitar players. So they have to sit together, and the guitar players, they tune their dial in their sound. The bass player dial in his sound, how more low end, more high end, and then they need to find a way between them, so that the guitar does not overlap the bass. So the bass can be in a normal level like the guitars. So they need room and frequency. So the trick is probably start on zero with everything. Lows on zero, mids on zero, highs on zero, and then play a little with the gain as long you like it. That's a taste, a matter of taste. And then from there you go and say play with the guitar players, and then see, okay, maybe a little bit more high end, maybe a little bit more mids, or a little bit less low end. A good tip is always to stand 2 or 3 meters away from your cabinet, because there is the most volume.
Yeah, well, there's a way it takes a while to get out of the speaker.
Exactly. So if you go too close to your amp or to your box, you say, "Oh, I don't hear myself," and I crank it up, and it cranks up, and it cranks up, and the guy in front of us says, "What the fuck?"
Volume
So-
wars.
Volume wars. Yeah. So that's why starting on zero and dial a little bit in from there to there, and I think that's a good start point. And
It's a good
For
point,
almost
but it's
everyone.
difficult. A lot of guitar players don't want to give way to bass frequency.
I know.
They think their guitar sounds good with everything, right?
Yes.
But,
So-
but the only way around it is just to work.
The other thing for the new guy is that he needs to trust the guy a little bit up front.
Yeah.
And so if you won't trust me, I'm not able to play around with this at all. And then you got just the beats from stage, and you have to live with it. And
Yeah.
the people turn around and make,
No, it's
it's what I get.
That's a good point.
And,
The trust factor between the bass player and the engineer. And maybe the engineer is likely to speak up and say something, but if the bass player maybe, he has his friends standing on the side of
Yeah.
the stage and they have
Yeah.
his back, maybe he thinks
Yeah.
he knows everything. So it's really incumbent upon the bass player to open up to that communication, right?
Yes.
And go to the sound man and say, what could I do?
Yeah,
What could I do to help you make this fucking
Yeah.
sound kick ass?
yeah, trust.
No, it's about trust between the bass player and the sound engineer.
Bass has a lot of information in it, and to give another number, guitars, I would say that if they have a normal tuning and a E tuning, be around 250, 300, 350. And if you make room with the bass around this frequency, then the guitar player is more happy. And you can give yourself a little bit more volume, and so the bass sticks better out and without bothering the guitars.
Yeah,
That's,
the frequencies aren't stepping on each other.
Yeah.
Shelving.
Exactly. So, yeah. Or 250 is a little boomy frequency.
Yeah,
Every room.
I wouldn't trust a guitar player to know that, and definitely as a bass player, I wouldn't. The bass player has low, mid sweep, and high. We don't bother with the numbers. We just go what sounds good.
True, some have a pedal and a little EQing, but yeah, there's a lot
But
of
it-
options.
But that's your realm. That's your knowledge.
Yeah,
And so, like we said, the theme of it is trust your sound guy to do the right thing.
yeah.
It's just, it's like me. Like I said, for years, we've been working together, and I trust you, Ralphie. I think Testament has a good bass sound live. A lot of people have said sounds pretty good. So I trust you, and I think we're going to do good from here on out. So thanks for the chat,
Hey,
bud.
welcome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
very nice. All right, and that's it from the Bass Strikes Back.
Awesome. Bass Strikes Back.